What is going on? How is everybody doing today? Hope everybody's having a good week, good night, whenever you're watching this, good morning, whenever. But anyway, Florida is now in search for a quarterback. Seems like John Summerall era is starting off with a new quarterback. DJ Lagway has hit the transfer portal. He will not be a Florida Gator next year. So John Summerall is going to have to explore some transfer portal options, and today that's what we're going to be talking about. Just going over some candidates that I believe could be a good fit for the starting quarterback job at Florida. Now, based off what I heard, DJ Lagway wanted to stay at Florida, but seemed like he kind of shied away from competition. I heard that John Summerall was kind of skeptical on what DJ was as a player, so they wanted to bring in another quarterback, assuming through the transfer portal to give him a quarterback competition in camp. And I guess DJ didn't like the idea of that, so hit the portal, and now Florida is now in search of a new quarterback. That is just based off what I've heard. I believe it was Pete Nakos or somebody reported it. Could be wrong on that, but I did hear that from a pretty reliable source. But anyways, let's hop straight into the candidates. Not going to go too in depth on any of them, just kind of run through them, give my thoughts and opinions, and we'll get out of here. So the first one, I think he's the hottest name in the transfer portal right now, and that is Sam Leavitt. So Sam Leavitt from Arizona State took him to the college football playoffs last year with Kenny Dillingham. Kenny Dillingham really brought Sam Leavitt under his wing and made him a great quarterback at Arizona State. He was getting a lot of first round draft hype and buzz earlier in the year. Dealt with a lot of injuries this year. You still have like 2 or 3 years of eligibility if you do get him. I believe two, because he'll be going into his redshirt junior year. So I do think if he goes to a school like Florida, there's a good chance that he's a one and done. And if you do land this kid, if you're Florida, then I think you're set. I think you're a real contender. I think whoever gets Sam Leavitt will be a real contender. Like I said, Arizona State was really only 8-4 this season because of Sam Leavitt's injuries. Sam Leavitt was healthy, they probably only lose 1 or 2 games. Sam Leavitt was that much of a difference maker to this team. And like I said, he sat under Kenny Dillingham, who helped develop many quarterbacks in the past. So I think if you're Florida and you can go out and land Sam Leavitt, you got a slam dunk right there. Next one is one that you probably won't hear a lot because I don't know if he's going to transfer. That is Austin Simmons. So you have John Summerall now. He has ties to Ole Miss. There's got to be some ties to Austin Simmons somewhere in there. Wouldn't be shocked. If Trinidad Chambliss stays at Ole Miss, I believe Austin Simmons hits the portal. If Trinidad Chambliss leaves, I think that Austin Simmons may take over as a starter over in Oxford next year. But if Trinidad does in fact stay, I think Austin Simmons hits the portal, and I think Florida will be one of the top teams in on him. He's from Florida. Like I said, John Summerall has some Ole Miss ties, so he has to know a little bit about Austin Simmons. Austin Simmons still has a high ceiling. Like, I know he didn't look the greatest his first 3 games at Ole Miss, but I mean he's so young. He's so young. He's a true sophomore, only what, 20 years old? Yeah, 20 years old. There's plenty of growing room, and like I said, I like his ceiling. I think this will be a good pickup for Florida. Maybe not a contender straight off the rip, but within the next year or two, I believe so. Now, next one, another big name in the portal. He actually entered today as well. Brennan Sorsby. Brennan Sorsby. I think he ends up at Texas Tech if I had to make an early prediction. But I do think that Florida is going to be pretty heavily invested in trying to get him because it just seems like a move that Florida would make. Brendan Sorsby, another guy, he had some first round draft buzz earlier in the season. At one point in this season, before the Utah game, before Cincinnati played Utah, Brendan Sorsby was playing like a top 10 quarterback in college football. That did kind of, he hit a big decline after that Utah game, had to probably something with his confidence or something because that was a pretty rough game for him. Like I said, kind of went downhill after that. Nonetheless, still a great quarterback. Still, I think, I don't think his ceiling's crazy high, but I think if you bring him in, you're a contender because if you get a good roster around him, which I don't think he had an amazing roster around him at Cincinnati, I think he could be a real weapon. He has all the tools. He's, I mean, I think he's already somewhat pro ready. Like, not fully, obviously, but there are some tools that kind of signal he don't have that high of a ceiling, but he is more of a pro ready guy. I think Brendan Sorsby's good. I think he would be a great pickup for Florida, and I think it's a good fit as well. Now, next one, CJ Bailey. Another kid from Florida. Amazing year at NC State. Great year. Another guy, super young. He's only a true sophomore. Like I said, great year. NC State, not much talent around you. Big body quarterback, 6'6", 210. Dual threat. He could use his legs. He could throw the ball around. Really good passer, actually. Um, like I said, in Florida, so it's kind of in his backyard. If he does hit the portal, there's some rumors that he might. There's some rumors that he might not. I think he will. I think this with the season that he had, I don't think he would want to play at NC State again after the season that they had as a team. I think I think Miami and Florida would be the two top contenders to get CJ Bailey, and this is another fit that I really like. Now the next one is Byrum Brown. Byrum Brown, he played in the group of five. You just hired a coach in John Summerall from the group of five. You have to think John Summerall has his eyes on Byrum Brown, or at least at some point in the season. He knows a little bit about Byrum Brown. You were kind of battling with UCF for a little bit there over who was the top group of five team. So you obviously have seen Byrum Brown. You know, he's from North Carolina, not too far, not too far from Florida. He is a senior. I believe he'll get another year of eligibility. Could be wrong, but I believe he will. Um, Great year at USF. Great year at USF. In the group of five. Another guy is dual threat. He could use his legs. He could sling it around. He's a difference maker. And I think, again, just like all these other guys, if you get the right talent around him, he could be a real dude up at the Power Four level. Now the next one is Kenny Minchey. A lot of people might look at this and say, why would you go get a Notre Dame backup? Well, a lot of people thought he beat out CJ Carr. He was in a him and CJ Carr at Notre Dame going into the season were in a quarterback battle. A lot of insiders at Notre Dame were saying Kenny Minchey won this battle. Everybody kind of expected him to be the starter day one. And then when CJ Carr got named starter, a lot of people were actually kind of shocked. Because, like I said, a lot of people inside of Notre Dame's program said it's kind of Kenny Minchey's job to lose. So he went toe to toe with a kid who ended up being a very solid quarterback and arguably beat him out. Like, I haven't seen any of the tape from the practices, so I can't say anything. But this is just based off of what I've heard. He's from Tennessee, so again, not too far. Um, I think, I mean, based off of what you hear, Kenny Minchey is a good player. He's a great player according to what you hear. We haven't seen much in game, but based off of what we hear behind the scenes, Kenny Minchey probably should be starting. Now, another guy in the same situation is Lincoln Kienholz. This one's very intriguing to me. It feels like a Florida move. I don't know why. He's a true sophomore. He was another one in a quarterback battle going into this year with Julian Sayin. If you're in a quarterback battle with Julian Sayin and you're like going toe to toe with him up until down to the wire, really, after seeing what Julian's saying is this year, I think, I think you, I think you might have a, you might strike gold here if you can land him. This might be like the next Joe Burrow type of deal. Not saying he's going to be as good as Burrow, but in that situation where Burrow didn't get the start at Ohio State, transfers over to the SEC, and you just kind of get a hidden gem right there. I think Lincoln Kienholz could be that. But obviously, I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Burrow. I'm going to double down on that. Not saying he's going to be as good as Burrow, just saying this situation reminds me of that. Because you just went into a quarterback battle with another great quarterback. Seems like you barely lost. You were in it the whole time. I mean, do you want to sit another year behind saying? I think Lincoln may hit the portal, and I think his market's going to be pretty good because of what we've heard from the offseason. So this is a guy that I would really like Florida to at least go after. I don't know if John Summerall is going to go out and make a big splash move. I don't know. I would assume so because he has a pretty big NIL budget at Florida. You have the talent on the roster already. You're really a quarterback away. If DJ Lagway played better last year, you might have gotten further into the season at least. But yeah, I think Florida's not as far off as what a lot of people would think. John Summerall is bringing in great personnel, which I'm gonna do a video about that as well. So stay tuned for that one. But yeah, that's just a few candidates that I think could potentially take this job and be the next starting quarterback at the University of Florida because, like I said, I think it's a very intriguing spot. You got great personnel coming in. You have a new head coach who was one of the best at the group of five levels. Um, you have a lot of talent on the roster already. It seems like you're retaining a lot of it. I know some guys did leave with Lagway, but seems like you're retaining the majority of it. You have a superstar running back. You have some superstar receivers. And I'm going to double down again. Great personnel, great staff coming in. I think John Summerall's doing an amazing job. So stay tuned for that video that I have out on that this week. But anyways, that's the candidates that I think could potentially take this job or be the next Gators starting quarterback. So if you did enjoy this video somehow, um, consider dropping a subscribe down there. Just click that little button down there. And yeah, stay tuned for the next one because we have a lot of Florida content coming. So if you're a Gator fan, yeah, just stay tuned for the next ones because we have some John Summerall videos coming out, some more quarterback videos as we get more updates and stuff. So yeah, that'll do it for this one. Everybody have a good one. Catch you on the next one. Peace.